The Ryugyong Hotel is the tallest building in North Korea, rising 330 meters above the capital city of Pyongyang. Surrounded by massive monuments and oversized government projects, the enormous pyramid-shaped tower dominates the skyline from kilometers away. It was supposed to become the tallest hotel on Earth and a symbol of North Korea's power and modernity. Construction began more than 3 decades ago, and within only a few years, the giant concrete structure had already taken shape. But despite its massive size, the hotel has never welcomed a single guest. For decades, the building has remained empty. So what happened? What does the inside actually look like? And will the so-called Hotel of Doom ever open? North Korea is one of the most isolated nations in the world. Information coming from inside the country is tightly controlled, making it extremely difficult to know what is truly happening behind the scenes. The government carefully manages the country's image to the outside world. In Pyongyang, enormous statues, giant avenues, and monumental buildings are designed to project strength, wealth, and stability. To understand the Ryugyong Hotel, we first need to understand the history behind modern North Korea. Before 1945, Korea was under Japanese control. After the Second World War ended, the Korean peninsula was divided into 2 occupation zones. The Soviet Union controlled the north, while the United States occupied the south. Over time, South Korea developed into a democratic state connected to the global economy. North Korea moved in the opposite direction, becoming an isolated communist dictatorship. Tensions between the two sides eventually exploded into the Korean War in 1950. The conflict lasted 3 years and caused millions of deaths. Even after the war ended in a ceasefire, the division of Korea remained permanent. The border at the 38th parallel still separates the two countries today. Decades later, both nations were still competing against each other politically and symbolically. In 1986, a South Korean company completed the tallest hotel in the world in Singapore. Then, only 2 years later, South Korea hosted the Olympic Games. For North Korea's leadership, these events represented major victories for the South. North Korean leader Kim Il-sung wanted to respond with a prestige project of his own. In 1989, Pyongyang hosted the World Festival of Youth and Students, welcoming thousands of visitors from around the world. To prepare for the event, the regime spent billions upgrading the capital with new roads, stadiums, and monumental buildings. And at the center of those plans was an enormous hotel designed to surpass every other hotel on Earth. The Ryugyong Hotel would stand more than 100 meters taller than its South Korean rival. Its design was unlike almost anything else in the world. 3 giant wings would rise upward at steep angles, meeting together near the top beneath a massive cone-shaped structure. The building would contain around 3,000 rooms spread across 105 floors. Plans included restaurants, entertainment areas, bowling facilities, and even rotating restaurants at the very top offering panoramic views over Pyongyang. Construction officially began in 1987. North Korea originally hoped the hotel would open only 2 years later, in time for the International Festival in Pyongyang. Floor after floor quickly rose into the sky. The giant concrete pyramid became visible across the entire city, but it soon became obvious that the schedule was impossible. The hotel was nowhere near complete by the time the festival began. Then came an even bigger disaster for North Korea. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. The country suddenly lost its largest supporter and economic partner. North Korea entered a severe financial crisis. By 1992, the hotel had reached its full height of 330 meters. But construction was far from finished. Despite the enormous amount already spent on the project, the government no longer had the resources to continue. In 1993, construction stopped completely. For years, the unfinished structure stood empty above Pyongyang. It had no windows, no interior, and no functioning systems inside. Only a giant gray concrete shell remained. Even the construction crane on top stayed frozen in place for years. At the same time, North Korea was suffering through one of the worst economic disasters in its history. Food shortages, blackouts, collapsing healthcare systems, and widespread famine devastated the country throughout the 1990s. Meanwhile, the unfinished Ryugyong Hotel became an embarrassing symbol of failure. Reports claim that official images of Pyongyang were sometimes edited to hide the building entirely from photographs distributed by the regime. Then, after almost 15 years of inactivity, construction unexpectedly resumed. An Egyptian telecommunications company called Orascom Forum, became involved in a larger infrastructure agreement with North Korea and began installing glass panels and exterior elements on the tower. Eventually, the massive concrete shell was covered with a modern-looking facade. In 2011, Kim Jong-un came to power after the death of his father, Kim Jong-il. Around the same time, the German hotel company Kempinski announced plans to manage luxury rooms inside the upper section of the building. For the first time, it seemed like the Ryugyong Hotel might finally open, but the project collapsed once again. In 2013, growing political tensions between North Korea and Western countries caused Kempinski to withdraw from the agreement. The hotel never opened. To this day, no guests have ever stayed inside the building. Behind the glass facade, large parts of the structure are reportedly unfinished and deteriorating. Some experts have questioned the building's overall construction quality, suggesting that the massive concrete tower may lack the structural reliability normally found in modern skyscrapers. Concerns increased after another concrete apartment tower collapsed in Pyongyang in 2014. Instead of becoming a global luxury destination, the Ryugyong Hotel slowly transformed into something else entirely. Since 2018, the exterior of the tower has been used as a giant propaganda screen. Thousands of LED lights now cover the facade, displaying political slogans, patriotic imagery, and videos celebrating the North Korean state. At night, a massive glowing North Korean flag appears near the top of the building above the city skyline. What was once intended to represent wealth, progress, and national pride has instead become a symbol of excess, secrecy, and the failures of authoritarian ambition. From the outside, the Ryugyong Hotel still looks powerful and futuristic. But behind the facade, the reality appears very different.